I've been talking to a lot of people about a lot of dogs today, and I've kind of forgotten what we were talking about.
No
But,
worries at all. Yep.
but
So we were talking about how GSP, she's about 14 weeks old, and she's been recently really interested in picking up dead rabbits and sort of scavenging sort of on walks and that kind of thing.
yeah, that's right. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, are you training a deer dog?
But just sort of a pet.
What's that? Sorry.
She's just the house dog, just
Just
a
a
pet.
pet. Okay. So you're
Yeah.
on the Paumiko dog guide.
Yes.
Okay. Got you. Yep. Um. Okay. Yep. So yeah, you were walking out. You were going out in the orchard, walking
That's
your
the one.
pup, and they're doing pest control in the orchard, and there's dead rabbits and rats and um.
And mainly rabbits and birds are sort of the main things around.
Okay. And yeah, your pup's trying to pick them up and eat them, eh?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, not great at the best of times, but yeah, living where we do, occasionally people do carry out poisoning and stuff like that as well. So just really wanted to get ahead of it before it becomes any more of a serious problem.
Yeah, it's quite a bloody hazard, eh?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Have you got the pup on a long line when you're doing this?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And you said you were using it. Man, it's so hard. If they're poisoning out there, man.
Yeah, so at the moment we're just sort of sticking around our home orchard, not too much
Mm.
poisoning around this area, but in the future there will be places where I'd like to sort of take her for a walk or run, and I do know that they occasionally do it around there. So not so much of a issue at the point, but yeah, it'd be a problem.
Yeah.
So as it is, she's been pretty good with like leave it and that kind of thing around the house, but yeah, as you'd expect when you're out away from the environment, too excited. So obviously being on the long line, I do have the option I can sort of get to her and physically remove it from her mouth, which I mean it's not ideal, and as she gets older that'll only get more difficult as well, I assume.
It will do, yeah. What I would do, my go-to for that, is actually would be a check on the long line. So instead of going to her,
Yes.
yeah, I would go so long line slack and just give her a check. Give her a tug on the long line,
Yep.
and combine it with the command of disapproval. So it's the pull and the up at the same time.
Right.
And it's not about pulling really hard, it's about how you pull. It's like and really surprising the pup.
Yeah. Sort of just like a little sharp, like yeah, just enough to distract her from doing it.
Yep, a
Yes.
sharp tug. And the surprise factor is really important. And when you do the tug and like, I'm talking loud, like
Yeah.
really give him is it boy or girl?
You there?
Yep.
Oh, cool. Yeah, she's a girl.
Okay. Yeah, give her a fright,
Yeah, right.
because it's all about, you think, oh, give the dog a fright, or give it a yank and yell it and stuff, but you're trying to stop it. You're trying to stop it from potentially doing something that might kill you, So,
Yeah, for sure.
and I'll tell you another really good trick on this is, and what I would actually recommend. This will be a big one. And this is something that we've done, helping people to train hunting dogs, and we do what's called non-target species aversion training, where where someone might want to use a dog to indicate goats in conservation work. They don't want that dog to target possums or rabbits or something. And
Right.
in that case, we'll actually get it, say it's rabbits, so you don't want your dog to eat rabbits. Instead of waiting till it happens, until the problem arises, and then having to guess when it's going to happen and deal with it then, we actually preempt it and get the rabbit, put it on the lawn, and then you know where it is, and then actually walk the pup past it, and then you're all
Right.
aware and you're watching and run through that whole process of giving the pup the check and the command of disapproval when it goes to go for it.
Right. Yep. Right. So actually get it right out there in the open and actually spend some time around it, kind of thing.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
It makes sense.
Yeah, and that really can make it a lot easier. And you know, like if you watch the Paumiko Dog Guide and the principles and training and steps and training for success and all of that thing, that's really what it's all about. Is
completely.
getting a dog ready for situations before it has to deal with it. So when they do arise, it's easy.
Yeah, sure.
So I think that, and especially, you know, you've said that sometimes you go into these areas, well, obviously you're having the problem. She's trying to eat a rabbit that you don't know if it's poisoned or not. So it might be a bit gruesome for some people, but if that's the problem you're dealing with, get the rabbit.
So get there and spend some time with it and make her really know that it's not other things she should be picking up.
Yep, and set her up so don't let her see you put it there. So maybe have her in a crate or something. Yep. Get the rabbit, put it on your lawn, and start off easy so it's nice and out in the open, obvious. And the key is that you completely ignore
it.
Yep. You're trying to show with your body language that's something you're not interested in. And if she
shouldn't be either.
Yeah, and if she tries to show interest, just no. And another really big important key to that in aversion training is, again, it's reading, and as we talk about in the Paumiko Dog Guide, reading the thought. So
read their body language and sort of, you can prove that they're probably going to go for it. So sort of do something about it before it even comes to that.
Exactly, man. As soon as you can correct them for looking at it.
Yeah.
And that, it might sound extreme, but if you let her look at it, let her veer towards it, let her get real close to it, and then correct her when she goes to sort of sink her teeth.
Yeah.
It can be harder for that aversion train to train a pup or a dog through that. But if you
walk past it,
as soon as she looks at it, just correcting the thought, she's thinking about showing interest in it, correct the thought. And the cool thing about setting them up like that is, I'll say put it on the back lawn. If I'm trying to do aversion training with a dog like that on, say, possum, I'll put a possum on the back lawn without the pup or dog seeing it, go get the dog, and I just walk past like it's not even there, and I'm almost watching the dog out of the corner of my eye, holding the end of the long line slack though, dragging on the ground. So the correction's coming from a slack long line, and as soon as the dog goes to go for it, give the dog a check, and then as soon as it turns away from it, all the pressure comes off, and then as you're walking away, to stop and give the dog a pat.
Yep.
Too, you know, because it's back to that principle: pressure on what you don't want, praise on what you do want.
Exactly.
And the praise is just as important. You can't just walk past and check them for going for it. It's really important that.
Otherwise, there's no sort of incentive to do that again in the future. Like, there's nothing in it for them. So.
Well, you're just doubling down, you know, and that's giving the dog the option. If you put pressure on a dog and correct it for doing something, the dog's like, oh, I'm not meant to do that. But it's not until as you're walking away and the dog is disengaged with it and you give it a pat, you go, good dog. And all of a sudden their chest comes back out and they're like, and their head's back up and they're like, oh, now I get it. I'm not meant to go for it and I'm meant to walk away from it.
Cool. And then, gradually then you can move back sort of on a walk that you're planning, just pop it somewhere you know you're walking past and sort of practice it. In that respect, you know where it is, but it's sort of a surprise to them.
Exactly. Yep. And that, again, training and steps start super, super easy. And on that first time, you know, if you put it on the lawn the very first time, you're going to walk around the corner, she's going to see it and just go straight for it. And not a huge deal, just check on the long line and keep walking. And then as you're walking away, stop, give her a pat, good girl. Then just walk around the house, do a lap, come back past it.
Do it again.
She'll probably try again. And the first time, all you're looking for is for her to walk past it once. you know, and as soon as she walks past it once, good girl, put it away and end it there.
Yep.
Then a day or two later, when you got time, do it again and do it on the lawn until she just knows we don't go near it on the lawn. And then it's back to exactly what you just said, then just escalate into different areas. Then you're working with that situational awareness. You've taught her, okay, we don't touch it on the lawn, but she's going to go, well, maybe we can touch it
out here.
touch it out here.
Yeah, sure.
And then that's just a matter of once you do it in 3 or 4 different situations, they go, okay, there's a real pattern here. We're just not meant to touch that anywhere.
Yeah.
And move forward from there.
Yeah, makes sense.
But just quickly though, on this, that it's a real hard one, man, this whole poison thing, and it's something that I have had a little bit of exposure with you know, hunting and doing conservation work and stuff like that, and working in areas that may have been poisoned, different things, and at the end of the day, there's really, if it's a dog, and yeah, you can do a lot of work to avert it and lessen the chances and all of that, but there's no real form of training that would ever 100% guarantee that they're not going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, even like, I know of some people that have, you know, work in conservation and for different reasons might have to go into areas that have got poison in them or something, and the dogs are fully muzzled up and just no, you know,
no risks.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't say so. Just do that 7 times.
Yeah.
Your dog will never eat poison, you know.
Yeah, sure.
But that's definitely how I would, you know, begin to deal with the situation.
Yeah, no, that makes great sense. And I mean, again, you talk about setting up for success. So I do make an effort of sort of not walking places where I know there will be, but a lot of the time, like if I was gone past and ran over one that's sort of all over the place, and it can be a bit kind of difficult to completely be sure that they won't be around. So, yeah.
For sure. I mean, and it's a really good Q&A because that's a really common one, you know, and we haven't gone over that in the Paumiko dog guide yet. Like, even if without the poison, it's still quite a common thing, you know, dogs just love picking up, you know, I walk on the beach quite a bit and people fish down there and leave bits of bait lying around and
right.
Sometimes there'll be something, a dead fish washed up or something, and that's basically what I do, you know, it's that exact thing. I'm just watching the dog, nice slack long line drag and just a check up, and they learn pretty quick.
Yeah, awesome. And I guess you could apply that as well to things like serviettes and sort of other bits of rubbish and paper cups and whatever, perhaps, that kind of thing.
Exactly. It's
or all sort of walking along a footpath or something like that as well.
Yep, it's all the exact same thing, you know, and it's actually a really good point, and it's just one more reason why, especially if whether you're retraining an older dog or you're raising a young pup, I mean, spending that few months of time doing your long line work and setting up all this stuff, it's just really, really good, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what I think I really want to sort of, because I can deal with it's manageable at this point, but I know that there'll be a time when it won't be manageable, and you want to sort of stop that before it starts.
Yep.
Awesome.
Was that the main thing, or did you have any other?
No, that's pretty much it. I did have one other question, just on a slightly different note, if you had the time to quickly go over that one.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, awesome. Just in regards to fence jumping, so we've got quite a big sort of fence area around the house with a rabbit fence, and at this point, obviously, it's far too tall for her to jump, but I know that sort of in the next couple of months she will be able to. So if it is, I sort of again want to sort of stop that before it becomes any more of a problem in the future. So at the moment, she does sort of show signs of wanting to sort of put her feet up on it or something. I've been really discouraging that. Other than that, do you sort of have any thoughts as to how to sort of discourage that kind of behaviour?
No, I mean, other than what you've already said, just any time I see the dog thinking about it again, correcting the thought rather than waiting to any time if there's anything like that, same as digging or same as house training, any time I think the dog's remotely, the main way is just pressure on what you don't want, praise on what you do want, and just that reading and timing aspect, and a nice sharp command, like not sort of like, don't do that, you know, it's, you know, really give them a surprise, you know.
Because that's sort of a big one, because it's nice to be able to have a sort of, you know, throw around the yard kind of thing and not have to worry about us just jumping over whenever she wants to.
Yeah, how high do you think the fence is?
Maybe meter or so, meter and a bit.
Just a standard fence, like a
Yeah,
meter.
just sort of your standard rabbit fence. Like you can sort of like waist height something, like you can skip over it. And again, I've been making a point of always using the kids and never sort of letting her see anybody go over it and showing that that's even sort of an option.
Yeah, I think you're fairly onto it with that one. I've got about a 6 foot fence around most of my house, but I've got just a standard gate on the front.
Yep.
And I don't. I teach my dogs to jump up in the back of my truck. That's about the highest thing I get them to jump up in.
Yep.
I don't teach. I have taught dogs to jump over fences in the past, but for that exact reason, I don't teach dogs to jump over fences. And it is quite funny how, it is a big skill. It can actually be quite a job to teach most dogs to easily clear a standard fence. And a lot of dogs won't if you don't train them to do it, and if you sort of put a bit of pressure on them to not do it, most dogs won't. But again, it kind of comes back to that same thing where never 100% guaranteed,
Yeah, exactly. And I think a big part of it too, I assume, would be just making sure like proper exercise and making sure you are doing enough. The area seem more interesting than whatever's going on outside it.
Yep. That's definitely a big part. My dogs always go in the kennel when I leave the house. I don't leave them free in the section. For me personally, I know a lot of people do and a lot of people can, and it's okay, and people might have a taller fence or they might have an older dog that's just been around forever and it's fine. But I'm really fussy on that, And
of course.
Only because I've seen things go wrong so many times, and I even know people that have had an older dog and they've got a 6 foot fence, and somehow the dog's got climbed, something crazy happened, or
sort of got stuck halfway up it, or whatever, or trouble than it's worth.
I even know people that their dog has just randomly one day got climbed over their 6 foot fence and ended up on the road and things like that, and it just comes back to that same thing. Like, I'm not really about telling people you definitely can't do this or never do that or always do this. It's more about just giving people all of the information and kind of letting them make their own decisions on what they want to do, but making sure they've got the information. Like some things like that, like a dog not climbing a fence or a dog not eating stuff, that sort of stuff's never 100%. And
for sure.
It really just comes back to taking care, safety, and
doing the best you can. The stage you can. But the right point to sort of get onto it at this age still, to be able to really lock it in, which is helpful.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it, and like you said with the whole eating, picking stuff up, that's all what these things are about for me, is making it as easy as possible, so your life's as easy as possible. Doing the work, like if you correct your dog every time it looks at jumping on the fence, and you're a bit careful about it for quite a while, like you say, exercise it properly, think about the times that you're leaving it alone in a section. Is the dog probably actually got a lot of energy right now, hasn't had a walk yet today?
Yeah, right.
I might just not leave it in the section on its own for 40 minutes right now, because it might start thinking about what's
sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, our girl, she's pretty happy sort of in a crate and in a kennel, sort of transitioning into the kennel, so she's been doing good with that. So definitely when no one's around, she is contained. But even just sort of, if you're just sort of around the house or outside in the garden or whatever, it's nice just to let her wander around the area without the worry of jumping over. But yeah, I've given some good points there, and just keep reinforcing if she has any sign of wanting to do it, just stop it before she does it.
Yeah, and the thing about that is, and it's sort of another thing that runs right through, is actually being careful with it early on, and crating her or kenneling her when you're not around, and then choosing your time and leaving her in the section while you're around, so she's sort of half focused on you and happy to she's not thinking about what's outside, she's just hanging around in the section. Getting her used to hanging around the section while you're around, kenneling her while you're away, that's actually your best chance of moving forward to the point where you can begin to trust her and, free in the section.
Yeah, for sure. Yep, definitely.
Versus, sort of just going, I want my dog free in the section, so I'll just leave it free the whole time too early before you put the work in, then having a problem, and now you're like, man, I can't turn my back on her for 2 minutes in the section, Sure.
So, and then like the dog backing, I've done it before, and it was a good time, so...
Yeah, versus like exactly what you're saying. Like I think you're really, you're already pretty onto it with a lot of this stuff. Versus being careful that early on, so you don't have that problem, and then you're going to be good later on.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome.
Anything else, man?
No, that's it. Everything's all good there. So I'll just keep on working on that, and really good to be able to hear thoughts, and then really appreciate making the time on your Friday night to do this.
Yeah, no worries at all. So we're doing a live Q&A in the inner circle next weekend. But like I've said, if someone's got some questions that they're stuck with, definitely happy to do a one-off Q&A, because it's good. It sorts you out, and it's good content for everyone else, and content for us only helps what we're doing too, so it's sort of a win-win all round, man.
Absolutely. No, you're onto a winner there for sure. It's really good to be able to come to you with these questions, and again be able to hear other people say the questions too, because a lot of it's generally pretty similar. I assume everyone's going through similar kind of things.
It is, yep. And like these Q&As really do. I've made them before, with other sort of video series I've gotten there, and they help a lot, man. Like it really is surprising how much, you think, oh, this is a specific thing I've had, very specific to what I'm doing, but, everything we've talked about, people just listen to it, and it sparks off a lot of ideas and really helps out. So, so thank you for taking the time and doing it,
Perfect. No worries at all. Thank you. And I'll definitely check out Q&A when it comes up and see what everyone else has got to say. But
Awesome. Cheers, Joel.
Cool.
Thanks,
all right,
mate.
have a great night. Cheers, Paul.
See you. Talk soon.
Bye.